Again, welcome. It's Kathy with Lanio May Autoimmune Coaching. And I want to talk about in this video, I want to talk about diet. And I want to talk kind of extensively about diet. And I want to talk about what's happened to our food, what has diet got to do with autoimmunity. I want to talk about paleo. I want to talk about low carb. I want to talk about Weston A. Price. I want to talk about a lot of things about diet. And this is probably the area that if you have an autoimmune condition and you haven't really addressed it yet, this is why. Because we love food. I love food. I still love food. I'm always going to love food. I've always loved food. Food has been my comfort. When I was young and my parents were going through a divorce, I would snark on Little Debbie's like they were going out of style. A Nutty Bar is still a comfort food to me. Okay, I love some Little Debbie's. So I'm not recommending that you eat Little Debbie's. I'm not recommending that. I don't eat Little Debbie's anymore, but I love them. We really have a deep psychological connection with food. And, I talked a little bit in my first intro video about the connection between autoimmunity and feeling sick and tired and fuzzy in your food. And I want to talk about, we actually live on a cattle ranch. So I've had to do some research on our food supply and kind of what's happened. I am a historical researcher in general. And so I tend to look at things anthropologically. So when I started getting sick and realizing that I realized our country was getting sick before I started getting sick. And I always thought I ate a pretty good diet, whatever that meant to me at the time, right? And I looked at things anthropologically and I started saying, okay, when did we start getting sick? Because that would be a big indicator, like when this thing started happening. It's like when your kid loses something, you say, well, where did you see it last? Where were you the last time you saw it? So where were we as a nation the last time we saw our health? Where were we? And I would say that after about World War II, we really started changing a lot of things really rapidly. I really believe if we had only changed one or two things along the way, we probably would still be in pretty good health. But we changed a lot of things, just crazy. Herbicides, pesticides. We started developing polyunsaturated fatty acids. We started developing high fructose corn syrup. We started developing GMO crops. We started developing wheat that was extremely high and a very potent form of gluten. We started piling stress on ourselves. We started a low-fat diet trend. Stupid. Not a good idea. And we started piling sugar, like processed white sugar, into our bodies and just all kinds of crazy stuff. I really think if we had just done one or two things, our bodies would have been like, okay, we can deal with this. But after the Industrial Revolution, and then of course paired with the technological revolution, I think our bodies just can't take it. So most of what we have now on the grocery store shelves is like Frankenfood. I don't care if it says it's healthy. I don't care if it says it's organic. I don't care. I have some sweet potato chips that I eat, for instance, and the ingredients are sweet potatoes, coconut oil, and salt. Check. If I go to my local grocery store and look at their sweet potato chips, the main ingredient is like potato starch, rice flour, corn, which is all GMO corn. Not food. So I want you to come up with this new saying for yourself, okay? It's food if I could potentially grow it at my home. Okay, so say you live on an acre of land or something and have really small cows or really small pigs, and you have a greenhouse. If you could process that thing in your home, it's food. If it would take a lab or a factory to get that thing, it's not food. So you can make olive oil at home if you have olives. You can make coconut oil at home if you have coconuts. There's tutorials on how to do that. You can get avocado oil at home. So those are foods. Monosodium glutamate is not a food. So the good news for you is that I am not about calorie restricting. I am not about saying, and this is what I think really gets people. I'm not about saying for the rest of my life I can't have blank. Bread. I can never have bread again. No, bread is the staff of life. I'm not going to tell you you can never have bread again. I'm also not going to tell you that you can eat any kind of bread again. Like, modern wheat is just a train wreck waiting to happen. If you want to go research that, go research it. But I think it really trips us up when we start feeling deprived. I'm not a big deprivation type person. So I want you to know starting out that you're probably going to be able to eat bread again, unless you are a very, very rare human being. You're going to have some bread again. You're going to have ice cream again. I can tell you how to make ice cream so that you can detox. It's okay. A lot of autoimmune people are totally anti any grain or any gluten and any dairy, and I am not. Although, I mean, everybody's different, okay? And I'm not going to tell, I mean, your body may be so broken down that you may never be able to have dairy. Okay. But I think there are some ways that we can work around that. So I want to talk about, I want you to, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. But so getting back to food, one of the things that I think that has really happened in our culture is we had this whole low-fat diet thing, which was a horrible idea. And then we swung the other way and we went low carb, which is another horrible idea. And then somewhere in the midst of that, we all got lost. I ate low carb for years. And that's probably part of the reason I have hypothyroid, although it's generational in my family. But I do think it made it worse. And we're finding a lot of people like that now who are saying, you know what, that whole low carb thing, I mean, that was all about losing weight, and now I'm kind of jacked up from it. So there's some basic dieting protocols that you need to be aware of. Paleo, which I'm sure you're probably already aware of. There's a broad spectrum of paleo. There are paleo people who eat some grains like quinoa, and there are paleo people who are like, grains are the devil, don't ever touch a grain, don't look at one. There are paleo people who say no dairy. That would be the traditional paleo line. And then there are paleo people that say, you know, evolving cultures eat dairy. So there's that whole line of thinking. There's the low carb line of thinking, which is like, we don't care what you put in your body as long as it's low carb. We don't care what it is. There's the gluten-free line of thinking, which is, you know, wheat is the devil, but please go ahead and fill up on potato starch and mung bean powder or whatever. Just carb yourself up on other processed things. I don't really fall into any of those camps per se. I see the wisdom in all of them, and you know, everybody has to do what they have to do. I fall more into probably like a Weston A. Price Foundation camp, or Nourishing Traditions, or traditional foods camp, because in a traditional foods camp, I find that nothing is off limits, but you have to be wise about what you do with it and what kind of that thing that you're having. And it really totally avoids the whole modern frankenfood thing. And Ray Peat, I also subscribe to a lot of what he talks about, and I would say that he fits in with, in some area, all of those. So what I do in my coaching is I coach you in my nutritional line of thinking, which tries to marry all of those different ideas in a reasonable way. So if you're confused, like if you've been researching diet and you're not sure, okay, this elimination diet over here says to do this, and this one says to do this, and I read this Weston A. Price stuff over here, and that sounds really good, and then I was doing low carb, but what about low fat? What about calories in and calories out? And Ray Peat says this, and what do? I can help you meander through that. And if you tell me, hey, I only want to do paleo, low carb, I'm going to tell you I probably wouldn't do that, but I can help you do that. If you tell me I want to go low carb and I don't want any dairy, I can help you do that. If you tell me, I want to go paleo, but I want a little dairy, how should I do that? I can help you do that because I've researched enough of all of that stuff that I get the differences. And I should make a chart that kind of explains. I mean, there are some great charts, actually, how paleo lines up with Weston A. Price. There's some great charts online, but I don't think they're totally correct. So there's a couple of things I would do. First, well, we're going to talk about, I'll talk about that. Okay, so you feel like you have an autoimmune condition. You feel like maybe your doctor, your functional medicine doctor, or somebody has diagnosed you with an autoimmune condition, and you feel like crap, and you feel like crap for a while maybe, or you're just starting to feel like crap, which is a wonderful road to walk down. Not really. And what do I do? Well, the first thing that probably your functional medicine person or me or your chiropractor or whomever is treating you is going to tell you to do is start an elimination diet. There are so many elimination diets. I am on board with probably, well, there's a variety. So elimination diet has several phases. Okay, phase 1 is your strictest phase. That's where you're sort of detoxing your body, healing. I prefer to call it healing. You're healing your body. And there are some great protocols for that. My favorite one that I've seen so far is Michelle Corey's. She has an awesome book that I would recommend buying, The Thyroid Cure. Right now, I think it's only like $6 on Amazon and Kindle. And she has a wonderful dietary recommendation. Now, her phase 1 elimination diet is going to be a lot stricter than a lot of elimination diets that you see. And I support that. I think it's a good idea. I see too many people, we've got this weird relationship with food. And part of, in my opinion, what an elimination diet, especially the first phase, does for you is helps reorient your relationship with food. Especially if you have leaky gut and generally when we have leaky gut and we're eating things like gluten or dairy or things like that, it has an effect in our bodies that's very, very addictive, even though maybe it's not that good for us. And so we have this bizarro relationship with food where comfort is everything and we just want more whatever. And so phase 1 of elimination diet is really important because it helps you get your mind around the fact that that's not really the behavior that we're going to have anymore. But we're also not going to have a starvation mentality. We're not going to say, oh, I can't ever have this, or we're not going to do that. I certainly wouldn't recommend telling yourself, I can never do blah, blah, blah. Because the first thing you're going to want to do is run out and do that thing. So that's a little bit of distinction between the diets. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about that. I don't think so. So I definitely would recommend hopping on Michelle Corey's. She's got 2 websites, michellecorey.com, that's COREY.com, and thethyroidcure.com. And she actually offers a free 14-day elimination detox diet on her website. It'll just give you the basics of what you need to do. And she says do it for 14 days. Let's talk about that. How long should I do my elimination diet? Well, how severe are your symptoms? How well do you want to be? I would say you must do it for at least 2 weeks. You must. But if you're really sick, you need to do it for at least 3 months. Now, some people will say, do it for 6 months, do it for a year. You need to contact your doctor. You need to talk to your doctor, see what your doctor says. But for me personally, I think that's kind of nutty. The goal is to heal our gut, okay, right? So if you have leaky gut, that's what we're doing. So 3 months should be enough time if you follow everything sufficiently to heal your gut. Shouldn't really need more than that, in my opinion. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I am just a person who has done this and wants to help you do it. So do listen to whoever is your professional health person. But that's just my opinion. Of course, if you feel really, really great on your elimination diet and you want to continue it forever, it's not going to hurt you. You're going to be fine. You're going to get plenty of your nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all of that. So anyway, okay, that is it for this video. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll put my contact information below so that you can contact me if you would like some personal coaching. And I can help you through the craziness of having an autoimmune disorder and we can get through it. I believe in recovery. I hope that you believe that you can recover. I personally have sort of a theology that tells me that our bodies were meant to be well and whole and not sick, and that God gave us the ability to help heal ourselves. So anyway, that's it for now, and thanks for watching.